Oh, basketball is back, which means we welcome Steph White back. Good to be back.
It's good to be back. It's a great time of year.
You did Midnight Madness.
We did.
Way back in the day.
Way back in the day. We used to do it actually at midnight.
At midnight, but that's now the old and in with the new, where they do it a little bit earlier. Speaking of the new, Nebraska, new to the conference. What do they add?
Well, I think Nebraska's a team that's coming from a strong women's basketball conference in the Big 12, so they know what it's like to compete day in and day out. This is a team that returns the nucleus from a rebuilding year last year. They have an outstanding sophomore and was an all-freshman performer in the Big 12 in Jordan Hooper. She's expected to make big contributions this year. They have a tough point guard in Lindsey Moore, who is a junior coming back, really the leader of this team. And I think this is a team in Nebraska that's looking to really build off of the momentum that they got last year and really come into the Big Ten and make an impact.
Connie Uri, their head coach, actually had a knee surgery in August, so she's been bedridden all of September. But you know what she did that first practice? She made sure she made an appearance. That sounds like a coach, right?
You got to make an appearance. That's right.
You
it's
do.
in your blood.
You do.
You don't want to be away.
Right. We saw Susie Merchant there at Midnight Madness talking about defending the title, the first outright title in school history. And I look at the top 25, I see Penn State there in some of the polls. Who do you see as maybe the top contender going into this year?
Well, I think Penn State's definitely got to be the front runner. This is a team that returns nearly everybody. They lost great leadership in Julia Tragel, but they have outstanding perimeter play. Alex Bentley and Maggie Lucas come in really making impacts. Where this team needs to grow is they need a post presence. Nikki Green is going to be key for them. Offensively, she's got to really make more of an impact than she has the last two seasons. Defensively, she's always been there. But this is a Penn State team who, coming off of their first NCAA tournament in a while, a 25-win season, I would look for them to really make big strides this year.
Interesting to see what they can do with that experience coming in. Now, when you look at the standings the last few years, Jantel Lavender has been at the top for scoring and rebound. You almost had to just look at who was number 2 because you expected who was number 1. But who's going to be the premier player now that Jantel is gone?
Well, you know, it's really interesting because you don't have the dominant player like Jantel Lavender was, and you don't have the dominant scorer like Kalisha Keene, who was a co-player of the year, was last year. So it's really going to be up for grabs. I mean, we're talking about players like Alex Bentley and Maggie Lucas from Penn State, Samantha Perhalis from Ohio State, you know, Jamie Prenti from Iowa, LaKendra Johnson from Michigan State. It's no clear-cut player of the year this year. What it's going to depend on is the success of the team. How successful is your team? How much are you taking your team to the next level? And I think that's going to determine the player of the year this season.
Maggie Lucas, one of the players you mentioned, stepped it up really as a freshman, kind of lit things up. Who's the top newcomer?
Well, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, we're anxiously awaiting Madison Williams from Michigan State for her to step on the floor. I think she has an outstanding ability when it comes to size, skill, and athleticism. She has the potential to really be an impact player. And I'm looking for freshman Rachel Bonham from Minnesota. She's been drawing comparisons to Lindsay Whalen, which no pressure there. I mean, being compared to Lindsay Whalen. But she was a Parade All-American, Minnesota Miss Basketball. There are not very many true point guards, true natural point guards left in the ballgame, so it'll be interesting to see what kind of impact she can make.
And 2 big rule changes going into this year. You're not going to have the arc that'll help officials call a charge in the lane. And the three-point line has now moved back to the men's line. How do those 2 rules impact the game this year?
Well, the three-point line, I think it's better. It just clears it up. There's no more confusion. Which line am I shooting from? And most of the three-point shots are taken behind the line that was considered the men's line anyway. So I think that just clears up the confusion for the players. The biggest impact, I think, is the restricted area. I mean, it gives the offensive player an advantage, and the defensive player can't just settle in under the rim. Our game is ready for that. There's more athleticism. There's more speed and quickness. I think that's going to make an impact.
And it was confusing for the shooters. They didn't know where to go, right?
That's
With the 2
right.
lines down there. Now there's only going to be 1.